Okay, everybody's favorite topic is leads, right? Choke leads. So my, you know in the military you have a call sign? You know, like this is like Maverick or whatever. So my call sign is choke leads. My partners call me choke leads because I'm obsessed with lead generation, okay? But this is what agents always tell me, oh, the leads suck. I call them and they didn't call me back, right? My question is, do the leads suck or do you suck? That's the question, right? We gotta examine, like, because I think you suck, not the leads. So if you don't have leads, you have death, right? In this business, in any business, if you don't have leads, you are dying. And this is why 80% of real estate agents fail in the first 2 years, is they get into the business with no plan to get leads or to get access to leads or generate leads or anything. It's insane to me, but this is, you know, it still happens to this day, and for 10 years I've been seeing it over and over and over again. But I believe that if you have choke leads, all your problems get solved. You can be terrible at everything. You can be absolutely terrible at everything you do in life, but if you have enough leads, you will stumble into business. You won't maximize your ROI on those leads, but you will be okay. And this has been my philosophy all along. It's like I always generated way more leads than I knew what to do with. And I probably over the years have wasted tons and tons of money and left tons and tons of business on the table. But that's okay. That's what I'm gonna keep doing, is generating tons of leads. So now we're focused on diving deeper into the stuff that we have and converting more, because if you're generating, you know, if you generate 1,000 leads a year, you should get 30 or 40 transactions out of that, right? Like 3 or 4%, even if you're not doing very well. But if you can get 1% more and you can get to 50 transactions, what does that equate to in terms of dollar amount? Like, it's mind-blowing if you run the math, right? So lead conversion is really tiny moves in the needle. Atomic Habits. You guys read Atomic Habits? Another book recommendation. See, Chris is already there. So the principle of Atomic Habits is, right, like if I'm navigating with a compass and I go 1 degree off for like 10 steps, it's not that big of a deal. But if I go 1 degree off for 1,000 steps, I'm like a mile away from where I need to be. And the same concept applies to lead generation, where if you can convert 1% more of what you currently have, it can be like $500,000 in income, right? So it's super, super important to think about leads as the total amount, but also what are we doing to actually convert the ones that we have. So we'll get into that. So we're gonna go through a quick little math lesson here, and I just wanna give you guys perspective, because I think the mindset behind lead generation is where most people fall short, and they just don't understand how this works, and they get discouraged because of it. So in the US population, there's 200 million people who are of property buying age, like 25 to 75, okay? Last year, there was 4 million transactions in the United States. So if you multiply that by 2, because there's a buyer and a seller, right? That's 2 sides to each transaction. That's about 4% of the population transacted last year, okay? We're following so far? So if you take any random group of 100 people, you can count on 4 of them participating in a real estate transaction. That's it. It's not that many, right? It's a small amount. So let's do Hawaii. There's 850,000 people in Hawaii that are of property buying age. There was 14,531 transactions last year. That's 29,000 sides. That's 3.4% of the population. So lower than the national average, right? Hawaii's propensity for transactions is lower. So again, 3.4 out of every 100 people that you randomly sample will participate in a real estate transaction. So I'll get to this. This is, you guys may have heard this before, but this is just industry stats about real estate agents. You know, they usually follow up 2.7 times. It really takes 20 to 25 touches for a lead to convert. Agents that use the CRM convert 20, 30% higher. I'm gonna go through this. Okay, so here's the question, okay? Everybody raise your hand. Who believes in UFOs, Bigfoot, Chi? You know what Chi is? Like the magic, like martial arts energy where they knock you over. You believe in any of that stuff? Huh? You guys believe in this stuff? Okay, who believes in a lead source that converts at 50%? You guys gotta believe in all this other crazy shit too, because it doesn't exist, okay? If you believe in a lead source, if somebody's selling you a lead source that converts at 50%, you gotta also go tell them to visit Bigfoot and take you on a ride on a UFO, because the shit does not exist, okay? So get over it now. I'm telling you, if they're doing this forever, doesn't exist. So the question is, what is 5%? Okay, because to me, this is the goal. If the regular population converts at 3.4%, and I can get a lead conversion source that converts at 5, I'm gonna go all in on that thing, like big time, because that's almost 100% better than the average population, right? So 5% is your magic number. Like if you can get a lead source that converts at 5%, work the hell out of it and go all in and invest in it. Because 5% is 1 out of 20. If I could guarantee you that out of every 20 people you talk to, 1 converts, would you be happy about that? Or would you not talk to the 19 because they're a waste of your time? 5% is 10 out of 200, right? So if you can talk to 200 people to get 10 transactions, would you do it or would you give up because 190 didn't do anything with you? It's 150 out of 3,000, right? So you just scale this thing up. Like if you decide, hey, I want to do 100 transactions, you just got to figure out a 5% converting lead source and you do it. That's it. But it's a lot of damn work. Like it sucks. Like, I mean, 95% of the work that we do in this business feels like it's wasted, but the 5% that converts pays you more than doctors get paid, right? So you got to keep that mindset. Like you have to understand that if you get discouraged, I had somebody tell me like, I did 3 open houses and nobody wants to do anything. And I'm like, yeah, because you got to do like 50. Like 3's not enough. Like you got to keep going, bro. Like that's not even, you're not even close to getting there yet. So if you can go in, it's almost like having like a mental disorder, right? If you can get over the fact that like you're gonna waste a ton of time and energy and a lot of it feels like you're not doing anything, you'll be extremely successful in this business. And you just scale this thing up as big as you wanna go. So these are our numbers. We added 15,000 leads to our database last year. We generate at least 1,000 leads a month, usually more. We had 895 closings. That's a 6% close rate, right? Double the national average. I'll take this all day long, all day long. But if you worry about the 14,000 leads that didn't convert, you're never gonna get there, right? You just gotta get over the ones that don't work out and focus on the ones that do, and you just gotta do it at a super high level. And definitely all of the most successful agents that I've ever encountered, they have mental clarity around this. Like they understand this, they accept this, and that's what keeps them going. And they don't get, you have to get 9 no's to get to a yes, right? You gotta get 15 no's to get to a yes. Like you have to be okay with all of the no's and all of the rejection and all of the feel like wasted time. Does the math make sense? That's it. Okay. The second level of this concept, right, is the cost of acquisition. What is the most expensive part of the real estate business? Does anybody know? The cost of lead acquisition. Like that's it. Like that is by far the most costly part of the business. And cost in the context of dollars and time, right? Because I'll get to this in a second. But you got to understand that cost isn't always dollar associated. Cost can also be time associated, right? And it's always the highest for the first time. It's going to be lower every single subsequent time, every referral that you get, every piece of repeat business. But you got to accept the cost of lead acquisition the first time is going to be high if you're going to scale to a large degree. But the ROI goes up significantly, and the referrals are the gold, right? The repeat business and the referrals are the gold. So every lead source has a cost, right? Whether it's an online lead or an open house, you may feel like an open house lead is free, but you had to spend the time and effort to set that open house up, sit there, do the follow-up afterwards. There's a lot of time investment in an open house lead because you got to build a relationship, you got to do the nurturing. So it's not free. There's cost involved with it, or you can just pay straight up for an online lead, right? So you got to kind of decide like, how do you want to do lead acquisition and think about it. I personally feel like it's way better to just pay thousands of dollars for online leads, because I don't have to spend any time. I can just focus on converting them, right? I personally don't want to sit at an open house and talk to people and talk to the neighbors. Like I have no interest in doing that. I want to convert people that come to me plentifully, right? Because if I got to meet 100 people at an open house to get one, I would rather just pay for 100 online leads to get one. It's way more efficient than it is sitting at an open house. So you decide what your business is, right? Like I'm not telling you what the right way or the wrong way is, but there is a cost associated to every single lead, whether it's door knocking, whether it's farming, events, social media. People think, this irritates me, people think social media and YouTube leads are free. Who thinks that? They're freaking most expensive leads there are, because we got a YouTube bro over here, right? Like we spend, those of us who do YouTube spend a ton of time and energy doing research on content, creating content, optimizing the video, creating lead funnels that will generate leads from the video. Like there's a ton of time and effort that goes into that for a free lead, right? Yes, the leads are super high quality. They convert super high at a super high level and they're awesome, but no lead is free, right? Every lead, there's an investment in that lead up front. The good thing about YouTube and like social media is over time that initial investment can return that investment many, 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 many times over, because especially if it's an evergreen good YouTube video. Like I shot a video on tiny homes on the Big Island like in 2021, and it's still like my top performing video, and I get like 2 leads a week from it. From a video I spent a half an hour making like 4 years ago. So no lead is free, but understand that every lead has a cost, and you got to decide what cost you want to spend. So this is a matrix, right? Who's seen the hot, crazy matrix for young men? Has anybody seen that? My wife said, you should make this for real estate agents. And I'm like, okay, got it, I'll do it. So I guess I won't explain the context of that, but there's a lead cost, right, from low to high, and there's lead frequency from low to high. And in this matrix, you can plot where your leads come from, right? So like a fear of influence lead is a low cost, low frequency lead, right? Pretty low cost to acquire that lead because your friend or your family is buying. But how often does that happen? Who does 30 sphere deals a year? Yeah, nobody, right? So this is your income line, right? So even though this is a low cost, low frequency lead, like your income is gonna be low if this is all you rely on all day long, right? You have to have some other mix of business in order to grow and increase your income. On the other end of the spectrum, we have like Zillow leads, which are super high cost, but super high frequency. And if I had to choose one, I would choose a high cost, high frequency lead that I'm gonna close 100 deals a year versus 5 sphere deals. I'm gonna make way more money, even if I give half the income away to somebody else, right? I'm still net gonna make way more money. So think about in your business, like where do your leads come from? Where do you wanna spend your time and effort? Because no lead is free and the frequency has a cost to it too, right? If it's a low frequency source, you're never gonna make a scalable business off of a low frequency source. So think about this. I mean, this is just a way, this is an example of how to all break it all down, but it's in a way to do an analysis. And if you have past production, right? If you're a productive real estate agent, you've done 10, 15, 20 deals last year, like do the analysis, break down where all your leads, all your business came from. And I did this late last year with an agent and she said like half her business came from her parent friends at her kids' baseball, t-ball games or whatever. And I'm like, you need to go all in on t-ball. Like go to every single game and go to every single concession. Like never mind working Zillow leads or whatever. Like why are you trying to chase all this other stuff when half of your business is coming from one source? Go all in on that source. But if you're not conscious of it and understand where the business is coming from, like you continue to just chase crazy stuff, right? So super, super important. And just understanding that at the end of the day, regardless of like what the income per lead is, you gotta look at your business from a cumulative aspect, right? And agents like, oh, I don't wanna pay the referral, I don't wanna pay the team split or whatever it is. But if you don't look at the per income per actual transaction, you just look at your overall income at the end of the year and just average it all out, that's really what your cost of doing business is, right? So it's a hard thing to do, but you gotta look big picture versus like per individual. I just started meeting 3 days ago with an agent who's like suffering in his first quarter. And I'm like, what'd you do different in the first quarter of this year versus last year? And she's like, I stopped taking Zillow leads. And I'm like, okay, why'd you do that? And she's like, well, I don't like paying the splits on them. I'm like, okay, how's that working out? And the light bulb went off, right? Like maybe I should turn Zillow back on. It takes like if you stop doing the thing that makes you the most money, like how do you expect that to work out? Like it's just a crazy irrational thing, but we all do this to ourselves. So think about it. If you're doing a thing that works, continue to do the thing that works and don't chase new stuff, right? Okay, so the mindset behind all of this is delayed gratification. If you can practice delayed gratification, a saying I love is if you wanna change your life, you have to delay gratification for a year. If you wanna change many people's lives, you have to be able to delay gratification for 10 years. But if you wanna change the world, you gotta be able to delay gratification till after you're dead, right? And if you think about the people who have changed the world, the Martin Luther Kings, the John Kennedys, the Abraham Lincolns, I mean, massively impactful people on the world, they never seen the change in the world till far after the days that they were gone, right? And so this is a hard thing, I think, for humans to wrap their head around is like delayed gratification, but definitely in business, the things that you do today may not pay off till 6 months from now, a year from now, but you still gotta do those things. And I think about the simplest practice of delayed gratification, which I do intentionally, is I back into every parking stall. Right? Because I do the upfront work and it makes me easy to pull out when I leave the store, right? But that's delayed gratification. It's a little tiny intentional practice of delayed gratification. But think about what else do you do in life that creates delayed gratification, because it's a great thing to practice and become mentally tough to. I always preach this. Act like every single lead is a paycheck. If you know you gotta take 15 Zillow calls to get paid on one, act like every single one pays you $500 because the one that converts will pay you 15 grand, right? So if you act like with the enthusiasm and the work ethic behind every single one that won't work out, you're going to get more of them to work out. It's just going to happen that way. So act like every single lead is a paycheck. Not every single lead is a waste of your time. I get that from agents all the time. Well, that was a waste of my time. That was a waste of my time. It wasn't. It was just a step in the right direction to get paid at some point. So delayed gratification, right? Act like every single lead is a paycheck. Believe you have something they need. How many agents are like, I don't want to call them because they might bother them. Or they might be busy. Or maybe they already have an agent, right? Like we like tell ourselves all this crazy stuff. My lending partner has the greatest mindset around this. He believes he's an insulin salesman and everybody's a diabetic. That's what he tells himself before he makes calls, right? He sells mortgages and everybody in the world needs a mortgage, and he's gonna go out there and enthusiastically call every single person and follow up on every single lead because of that. You gotta believe this, you guys. You gotta believe that you have something people need. If you just wanna sit back at a desk and wait for people to come to you and ask you to buy a house, like go get a job at the Macy's makeup counter, because that's what people do there, right? Like you gotta go out there and you gotta hunt and you gotta kill and you gotta believe that you have something people want. And that is what will give you the fortitude to continue to make calls. This is off the script, but do you know the 3 kinds of salespeople that live on a farm? There's 3 kinds of salespeople that live on a farm, okay? There's dogs, and dogs are super happy, they're loyal, they'll go out there and chase the sheep, but you gotta feed them twice a day, and you gotta pat them on their belly, and you have to give them direction, and you gotta keep them happy to keep them working, right? And then there's horses. Horses can work super hard, they can run really fast, but you gotta ride them. You gotta put the saddle on and you gotta whip them, and as soon as you stop whipping them, they're just gonna go back in the pasture and eat grass and stop working, right? And the 3rd kind of salesperson that lives on the farm is the most valuable one, that's the cat. What does a cat do? The cat sleeps all day, gets up, sees a rat, kills the rat, eats the rat, is totally full, then sees a bird and kills the bird too, just because it's in their nature to kill, not because they're hungry, right? So if this is a mindset and a skill set to build upon, and I feel like that's always, like I've never done real estate because like I think it's fun. I think it's a game. Like I would make 2 hours of phone calls in the morning just so I could get one person to convert. Like I would do it as a game, so because it was fun. Like I had a purpose, right? If I could get the 2nd person to convert, then cool, I was done. But I would do it for hours until I got somebody, an old lead, to convert or reactivate or start a conversation. But like you gotta gamify everything and not do it like for like that like immediate gratification. It's gotta be a game. And if you think about it that way, it becomes easier. Because it's hard, guys, it's hard. Every single day it's hard. There's rejection, there's disappointment, there's so much stuff. But you gotta gamify it and you gotta do it for the love of the kill, right? Not necessarily because somebody else patted you on the back or because it makes you feel good or whatever it is. You gotta really decide what drives you. And how do you do this? I don't believe, had anybody like in 5th grade in the project at school say, I want to be a real estate agent? And we do that? I sure the hell didn't, right? I didn't think I'd be here. I didn't think I'd be selling real estate. But guess what? You would never believe this. I am like an introverted person. I don't like crowds. I am uncomfortable when I go to things that I don't know people. Like I hate it. I don't like it at all. But I wake up every morning, I put on my real estate agent leader cape, and I fucking go to work. Like, and I go out there and I'm a freaking superhero every day, right? But it's a conscious decision I make when I leave the house every day. I'm not wearing my shirt today, but I usually wear an EXP shirt. But like, you gotta put on your cape. Like people say like, that's not me, or that doesn't sound like me, or that's not how I am. Like that's the wrong mindset. You gotta put on your damn cape and go out there and start saving lives, right? And you gotta go out with that level of enthusiasm. So I don't care if it makes you uncomfortable or you don't like it or it doesn't sound like you or whatever. Like put on your damn cape. Think about that every morning. Did I put on my cape before I came out this morning? Because if you don't, it's easy to just kind of not do what you gotta do and take it easy and go to the beach or whatever it is. Avoid the hard work, right? So put on your cape. All right, so I'm gonna blow through this. Before you generate leads, start with systems, right? If you don't have systems, don't generate leads. That's a big one, is after all this stuff we talked about, if you don't have a way to follow up with those leads long term, they're just gonna be a waste of your time, so don't do it. You gotta have your value proposition, we already talked about that. Develop valuable content. What are you giving leads that is valuable? I've been having this struggle mentally, and we've been talking about this amongst the team, is who sends their leads, their contacts property alerts in your database? Nobody? Is nobody sending them property alerts? Pretty much every real estate agent usually asks the first thing, I'll set you on a property alert. Who said that to a lead? I'll set you up on a property alert. Nobody? Well, maybe you guess not the wrong crowd then. I don't think property alerts are valuable anymore. You get them from Redfin, Zillow, 17 real estate agents that you went into the open house. Like, I don't know if a property alert is like a valuable thing to a person anymore because it's so accessible, but it's a lazy thing that we do to say that we like are following up on our lead. How about developing a valuable piece of video content and sending it to them that's interesting, that actually engages them and shows your personality, right? Versus like an automated property alert from your system. So think about that. Define what a lead is to you and how much work you're willing to put into it. This is big, right? Does anybody have a definition of a lead? You guys want to hear what my definition of a lead is? What do you think my definition of a lead is? And anybody with a pulse and an email address and a phone number. But you got to decide, right? Like some people are like, oh, they're not really a lead. They're not really a lead. Absolutely. I believe that every single person in the world in the next 15 years will buy a house, and I'm going to continue to talk to them until they do, right? So think about what a lead is. If a lead is just a pre-qualified person who's ready to buy tomorrow, you're going to have a super small, rough business, right? So you got to define what that is and how much work are you willing to put into it. And then write all this down. I keep talking about this, but write all of this down, write all of it down, write all of it down. Because at the end of the day, right, if you hand off a lead to somebody as you start to scale, you're not going to be able to. And the whole reason we started this team, you guys, I didn't have it, like delusions of grandeur to like be the number 3 team in EXP and all this kind of stuff. I just was making too many leads, and I was like, hey, you want a lead? Do you want a lead? You can give me some closes, and like that snowballed into this crazy ass thing that we have. But I learned quickly that if I gave a lead away, I need to be very clear on what my expectation was when I gave you that lead. How many times should they call? What script should you use? How many updates in the system, right? So if you're not doing this and you don't have it written down and you give off a lead to somebody and they screw it up or they let you down, it's your fault, not theirs, right? So be very clear about what your expectations are. All right, so lead conversion fundamentals, and this applies to you personally if you're an individual agent or if you're going to scale an organization, is you got to have training, right? You got to train on your system, train on your database. I would say once a week. Like, to me, if you want to get good at anything, whether it's like pickleball or knitting, like you have to do it often, right? And like, this is just a thing that you got to do, and not just work in the system, but train in the system, like get better at it. Take a class, go to a mastermind, go to a Facebook group, like whatever it is, but get better at the thing that you're doing. Scripting. I don't like the word scripts, but we do a ton of them. And to me, it's just practicing how to talk, right? Like, what do you say to a person when they walk into an open house? Do you know right off the top of your head, like the 7 lines that you're going to say to them when they walk into the open house and the 3 questions you're going to ask? Like, do you? Like, because if you don't, you're not being a real estate agent, right? Like, you have to know exactly what you're going to say to people. I use this all the time, is how do you, when you encounter somebody who says, I'm not pre-qualified with a lender yet, what do you say to them at that point? Okay. I mean, right? Do you have a lender? I mean, would you like to talk to a lender, right? I mean, this is like regular stuff that people say. This is what we tell people. Awesome. Are you willing to spend 15 minutes with my friend Kevin? He helps people just like you all the time buy homes just like you're trying to buy today. He's going to ask you some information about your income and your savings, maybe ask you for some documentation. If you want to move forward, he's going to have you fill out an online application and ask you to send him those documents. Are you willing to spend 15 minutes with my friend Kevin? Right? And if they say yes, we have confirmation, a time commitment, an expectation of what's going to happen. And when I give that lead to our lending partners, they're going to call them forever to have that 15-minute conversation, right? If you say, are you pre-qualified? And they say no, they say, oh, great, I'm going to send you my lender's information. Like, that's not lead conversion, you guys. That's like, I don't know what that is, right? But like, and if you give that lead's information to the lender and the lender calls them 20 times and they never answer their phone, you think the lender sucks, but really you suck because you gave them a lead that didn't have a commitment to do anything with the lender, right? You need to get a commitment, a time commitment, and an expectation of what they're going to be asked to do. So think about that in everything that you do, is like be intentional about the script that you use and what you ask and how you communicate, because your outcomes are greatly. We went from 640 something transactions to 895 in 1 year, strictly based off of our lending partnership that we created and the processes that we put in place. Like, crazy and shift in the business by being more intentional about how we handed off leads to our lender and the amount of conversion that came out of that. So little tiny things make a very big difference, but scripts are huge. We do workshop once a quarter where we dive deep on all this stuff. Systems, scripts, handbooks, system templates, we covered all this. And then I was just talking about our lending partners, but this might be the most underutilized relationship. You all think you have a lending partner, right? You all think you have like your friends that you send people to get pre-qualified to, but are they truly a partner in your business who's invested in lead conversion? That's a huge one. Or are they like somebody who kind of manages loans, right? Because like I'm not interested, any monkey can manage a loan. I need somebody who's gonna help me convert leads at a high level. And that's what we do with our lending partners. And we have all kinds of crazy strategies and scripts and stuff around this. But this is something, if you really wanna get serious about scale, you gotta have a partner in the mortgage industry that is committed and invested and will put resources towards your operation to convert you more leads, because that's how you maximize lead conversion. Is like, who knows when you send a lead to a lender, what happens, specifically what happens? Yeah, you know, because you know who you send your, I don't know who you send your lender, your leads to. This question hit me hard a couple of years ago, and my friend Kevin told me this. He's like, what happens when your agents send your valuable leads that you're just spending thousands of dollars to generate to a lender? What happens? I'm like, oh, I hope they call them. Like, I don't know. Like, and he's like, that's a problem, bro. Like, I could tell you exactly what's going to happen if you send them to me, right? I mean, they're going to call them every single day for 15 days, and then every 7 days after that, there's a CRM in place. There's this whole entire process. So if you don't understand what that is, or they don't have the resources to do it, you're leaving a lot of business on the table, guaranteed. And then also having a relationship that they're looking out for you, because a lot of lenders, you'll send them a lead, and then a year later, they'll come back with a different agent, and the lender will just do that loan, and you'll never know about it. You have no idea how many loans are getting done like that you generated, that somebody else is closing that business, because you don't have that understanding and that relationship. So there's a lot to dig into. We could do an hour just on this, but your partners are important in the business. All right, so conversion habits. Daily CRM activity, I believe you have to be in your CRM every single day. Don't avoid uncomfortable outreach. To me, this is the funniest part of my job, is I only deal with like really shitty, messy transactions. Like, I get to like put on my cape and like calm the irate seller down, or the buyer who's going nuts. Like, I wish I could touch normal transactions, but I don't do that anymore. But this is uncomfortable every single time we pick up the phone and we call somebody we don't know, right? So if you can embrace that and become mentally tough to that, you will convert more leads, guaranteed. And you gotta become an expert, right? This is something that, like, what are you doing on a daily basis to learn more about the market, to learn more about property tax rates, to learn more about home warranty programs? I mean, like again, none of us grew up wanting to be a real estate agent, right? But you have to be absolutely obsessed about being an expert, and if you're gonna do it at a high level. You know, do you guys know the Steph Curry stat? You guys know who Steph Curry is, right? So how many three-pointers has he made in his NBA career? Like 3,200 or something like that, right? Greatest of all time. Do you know how he got there? Since he was like 15 years old, he shot 500 three-pointers every single day since he was 15 years old. That's like 1.5 million shots to make 3,200 in games and become the greatest of all time, right? The practice in private is what creates public praise. And so this is the kind of stuff, is like, are you, like, this is a funny story. Are you guys tracking TCPA? Like the TCPA laws that are changing and stuff? You guys tracking that? Again, huge thing that's gonna affect our business in an enormous way. You need to get up on this. But my wife can track me on my Tesla app, right? So like when she's wondering where I am, she just looks in the Tesla app and it can see if I'm driving or whatever. And I usually call her like around 3:30 or 4 on my way home, and I didn't call her. And she looks on the Tesla app, and I'm listening to a TCPA like podcast, right? Learning about this TCPA thing. And she texts me and says, you know, when I spy on my husband, I find out that he's learning about the TCPA. I guess I gotta be happy about that or whatever. But it's like, it's a stupid story about like, I am freaking obsessed, you guys, with learning everything I can possibly learn about this industry to help our agents, to provide them with guidance and value. But are you doing that for your clients, right? Think about that on a daily basis. Like, are you absolutely obsessed with what you do? Because we have to be, like, I have to be an expert to so many different people, but that all started with me just wanting to be an expert for, you know, Joyce from San Francisco who wanted to buy a house in Kona. Like, I had to be that guy. So think about that on a daily basis. Are you an order taker who's just waiting at a desk to show property, or are you an expert that people are gonna come to, who seek out your advice, who seek out your expertise? Because if you're gonna be, you gotta shoot the 500 three-pointers every day, right, to close the 3,200 shots at the game. So it's a habit. This is the most underrated lead conversion tool, I think, is video email campaigns. We do this every single week. We send a video that we make on YouTube, embed it in an email, we send it out. This creates value, it creates retention. We just converted a Zillow lead from 5 years ago off of an email like this that they just responded back to and was ready to see property. So again, creating value, educational content, if you're gonna convert people and build confidence and they're not gonna get on the phone with you, you can't meet them in person, this is probably the best way to do it. If you can spend the time to send one video email out a week to your database, I guarantee that alone will transform your business, 3x your business. But most of you have, how many, you guys looking at your phone, how many contacts do you have in your phone? Probably 800, 900, 1,200, 2,000. Like that's your database. If you send every single person in your phone a video email a week about real estate showing that you're an expert, your phone would blow up and you'd have more business than you know what to do with. So that's really all you got to do if you want to double your business for sure. All right, we do, and then one video a month is a market update. There's always calls to action, right? To book meetings, make it easy to respond back, fill out a form, give us some more information. And then don't worry about response rates or open rates or view counts. This is all like ego metrics, right, that people use. Like, oh, my YouTube video only got 100 views. Like, if it got you 100 views and 2 leads and 1 closing, was it worth doing? You got to ask yourself that question, right? If you got 10,000 views and 0 closings, was it worth doing? Probably not, right? The view count doesn't matter. Same thing with open rates with email is send the freaking email. Like, if 1 out of 10 get opened, or if they just see my name in the subject line of their email once a week, they know that I'm their trusted real estate professional that follows up with them, that creates content every week, and I'm the guy that they're gonna call. And we get this multiple times a week, right? The come list me call or the come write me an offer call, and people are like, oh, that's so amazing, it's so easy, how do you do that? And I'm like, well, 7 years of sending out video emails, that's how it happened, right? It didn't happen like overnight. So this is a huge underutilized tool, and not enough people do it. Does anybody get a weekly video email from any realtor in town? I hope you do. Yeah, you get one from me, right? So, because I send one to, guess what else I do, guys? Here's a secret, is I send one out to every single real estate agent in the state too, because when their broker lets them down and they're looking for a place to go, who do they think of? All right. Okay, so this is just agent proof of concept. I'm not gonna go through these. These are just amazing agents, in year 1 that do 30 deals, 9 million, 12 in our first 4 months, all of this stuff. There's just tons and tons. Justice is gonna be speaking next month, you guys, do not miss this. She did 79 transactions in 2023. I think she did 82 last year or something like that. She's like #1 on the whole entire island. She's 27 years old. So if you want to learn, she was a Zippy's waitress 4.5 years ago. So if you want to learn how to do real estate at a high level very early on with 0 excuses, and she lives in Puna, like she's like in the sticks in Big Island, right? So she did 20 million last year. She was 30 under 30. Nationally for NAR last year. So absolute killer, and was really, I'll end with this, but I'll show this as an example. I was in our little conference room in 2021 with my brother and Misty, one of our founding members, and we had all these excess leads in Hilo, and we're sitting there on the conference table and we're like looking through the MLS roster, seeing like who could we call in Hilo to recruit in Hilo. And we're going through the list and we're kind of strategizing and we're planning, and my phone rings and it's Justice Pang. And she was like, hey, you're the only broker on the island who hasn't called me. Because at this time, she was like her 2nd year in the business. She had done 30 deals and like that. So like she was like, upcoming rock star. But she's like, I've been looking at EXP and I think it's really cool. Like, would you talk to me about it? And I'm like, absolutely. And 2 weeks later, her and her friend Ivory, who's another Icon agent, joined the team and started our expansion across the island. But it's intention, right? We were being intentional about what we wanted. We just put the energy into the universe, and then like the universe took care of itself. And like my phone rang. It was wild. But I can tell you a million stories like that. But that's the kind of stuff that you got to do, right? It's like the most life-changing things sometimes are just because you spoke it into reality or you put it down on paper, and that's why there's all this like write it down, write it down, write it down. So that's Justice next week. That's your plug for next week. Okay, we're wrapping up here. F the conventional wisdom. Here are some things that I have learned in the last 5 years that you have been trained on by your broker or whoever your mentor was that I think is total BS, all right? Make 3 recommendations. I think this is the worst advice ever. I will never recommend 3 people, not 3 home inspectors, not 3 lenders, not 3 anything. I will recommend 1, somebody who I have a relationship with who has promised to do me no reputational damage, right? So when you give 3 recommendations, it tells your client, I don't trust anybody, you pick, and if they screw up, it's your fault. It's a worse way to build a business and a trustful relationship, right? So I will never give you 3 recommendations. Up to you if you do that. There is no liability in this. This is a totally made up old school broker thing, doesn't exist. Don't spend time on unqualified buyers. This is crazy to me. If you are not willing to get in a car and meet with and show an unqualified buyer a house, you are giving up the opportunity to build a relationship with somebody who could buy in 6 months. This is stupid ass advice. I will absolutely spend time with unqualified buyers every day of the week to build a relationship, to get them qualified with my preferred lender, put them into our system, and maybe convert them 6 months, a year, 18 months from now, whenever that is. But spend the time on a relationship. Never mind if they can pay you today, right? Wrong, delayed gratification. Listing agents last. Everybody, Shireen will disagree with me on this. I have never liked being a listing agent, you guys. Listing clients stress me out, they get pissed off. Everybody wanted listings in 21. Today, every listing agent hates their life because no listings are selling. I believe in buyer business, and buyer business turns into listing business that actually like you because they have a previous relationship with you. So you gotta decide what you do in your business. I can tell you, like, I will continue to do a ton. We do about 65% of our business is buyer business and 35% is listing business. So on a large scale, I mean, we're heavily buyer business. I've just always been the way I operate. You can generate buyer leads at scale. You cannot generate seller leads at scale. No one has figured it out. So no one's figured out how to generate seller leads at scale. Zillow hasn't, nobody has. So if somebody tells you they have, or you should buy this lead source, they're full of it. I can tell you I've tried absolutely everything. The best source of seller business is buyer business, right? So I don't buy that listing agents last. Lots of them are dying right now. Zillow is the enemy. I grew up hearing this from the people in my Coldwell Banker office. I decided to use it, and I decided to partner with them, and now we do about 250 transactions a year off of Zillow. We made, I think the agents made $2.5 million in income last year just off of Zillow alone. So, hey, you can hate them, but the reality is the consumers have chosen. That's where they want to shop, and that's where they want to get the real estate information from. I want to be in bed all day long with those people and do a ton of business, right? It costs us a lot of money. It's very, very expensive, but they're not the enemy. And we have agents. We had an agent last year in 7 months made her first 100,000 ever in her whole entire life off of Zillow business. And I'll happily do that for lots of agents all day long. So they're not the enemy. Online leads suck. This is what, I don't think I have to get into this. I just don't believe that's the case. I believe agents suck at converting them. And then create multiple businesses. People think like realtors, and then once you get to a level of success, you're some crazy entrepreneur who wants to like invest in everything. And now it's like, hey, you want to get into my solar business, and you want to get into my fix and flip business, and you want to get into my escrow business and all this kind of stuff. I think it's a Chinese proverb, right? He who chases two rabbits catches none. Like I tell every single time I get pitched with a business opportunity, I do one thing and one thing super hard and good, and that's real estate. I don't do any of this other crazy stuff, and I'm not an entrepreneur, and I don't want to have 17 forms of income and all this kind of stuff. Just focus on what you do. And if you do it at a high level, you don't need multiple streams of income, right? You just need one. And then focused on experienced agents. This is one also that I was told growing up was like, hey, you just want to recruit experienced agents. You know, you want people who have already proven themselves in the business. Our average agent is less than 2.5 years in the business. And you know, we outsell pretty much every brokerage in the state as a team. So I just don't believe this is true. I believe I would rather take a new agent who knows nothing, who is willing to follow a process, a proven system, than an experienced agent who brings all their baggage and all their opinions and all their this stuff, right? All this stuff, I got to deal with all of this stuff. And so I just don't believe that you have to have experience. I believe in potential over experience. So if you know somebody who's a hard worker, who can follow the system, with a positive attitude and abundance mindset, they can crush in real estate, never mind if they don't have any experience. All right, some final things to be prepared. If you're gonna scale your business, you are going to do way more work than you're going to do less. For whatever reason, people think I'm gonna build a team and I'm gonna scale a business and I'm gonna go to Kauai every weekend and sit on the beach. Like, absolutely not the case. I mean, you're gonna work harder before you ever work less. If you ever work less, it's just the hard work turns into different kinds of hard work. So accept that fact if you're gonna grow a business, because the hard work never goes away. You're gonna spend a ton of your own money to fund growth. I drove my wife crazy with this for many, many years, where like I spent every single extra dollar I made investing in systems and giving it away to other people to help grow. We bought livinginhawaii.com last year because I believe we're gonna turn it into the most massive Hawaii lead generation platform there is, but it costed me a ton of money to do it. But it's a risk and I think it's gonna pay off, but it's like every single time there's excess income, you're gonna have to spend it if you wanna grow, and at some point, that'll stop, but just if you're tight with money and you don't want to spend it to grow, it's going to be hard to grow and scale. You're going to face lots of challenges, obviously, people, money, relationships. You're going to feel underappreciated. This is a thing that, you know, humans think, oh, nobody appreciates me. I did so much to help this person. This happens to me on a daily basis, you guys. We bring on a new agent, we help them, we give them the whole entire world, I give them 50 leads, and then they go to Coldwell Banker. And I'm like, what the are you serious? Like, to go sit in an office and hopefully get up desk lead, which is like the stupidest thing that hasn't worked since the 90s, right? But like, if that depressed me and like got me down and like got me pissed off or whatever, I could never turn that positive energy around to the people who really need it. So you're gonna feel underappreciated, get over it. Nobody cares how you feel, and just continue to move forward. There's lots of disappointment. I tell people this is a joke, but I'm 100% serious. I am disappointed every day in every single body that's around me, right? Nobody works as hard as I do. Nobody's as smart as I am. Nobody does as many things as I do. But that's okay, right? Like, you cannot base what you do off of what other people do. You are gonna be disappointed. They're not gonna do it perfect. They're gonna let you down. But if you can deal with this, and the last thing on here, oh wait, I don't have it on here. You just have to be okay with it. Like, and you still have to love people. It's okay, right? You're gonna be disappointed. They're gonna let you down, but you cannot stop that from moving forward and continuing to grow. You're gonna face teammates, friends, family who will not share your vision or support, and that's okay. I've dealt with this many iterations along the way. Many of our first 20 teammates are not with us anymore because it just got bigger than what they wanted to be. And I'm okay with that. I love them. They're still my friends. But like, some people don't have a big vision for what they want to do, and it makes them uncomfortable when they're around people who do. And if you're gonna let those people hold you back, you're never gonna grow, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, this is like, I deal with this a lot with our agents. Like, it's inside their own house, right? It's a spouse, it's their parent when they're a young agent telling them they shouldn't do this, they should get a real job. Like, you gotta remove yourself from that or insulate yourself from all that negativity or that limiting growth mindset, because it could be like inside your household. And one of my biggest blessings in life is my wife has never given me crap about the crazy stuff that I wanna do. Like, she's always been supportive of that. I 100% appreciate that. But be understanding of this, right? The team that you start with is not the team necessarily that you end with, and that's okay. You can still be friends, but you can't let them hold you back. And then repeating yourself over and over. I feel like my wife is a 4th grade teacher, and she says you have to just say the same thing over and over and over again for them to learn, and that's the same thing with real estate, is you cannot have the like, I told you once mindset. I told you you should learn, you should know already. You gotta do it over and over and over again, and repetition. The same is true of lead follow-up, right? You gotta repeat yourself over and over and over again, and you gotta get okay with that. And it's a final secret sauce here, aim for a boring life. I talked about this earlier, but if your schedule and life is chaotic, you will never have predictable results. So I aim to have the most boring, predictable life possible with no surprises, and it creates predictable results. So that should be your goal, be boring. Value potential over experience, I talked about this. I learned this in the military, in politics, is like, if you have potential, you have an experienced person comes to you with almost like a ceiling on what they're capable of, right? If you've done something for 10 years and you have experience in it, and you've kind of done that thing pretty good for 10 years, that means you're pretty much where the limit of your success is. But if you have a bunch of potential to surpass that person, I would rather bet on that person and help them grow past the experienced person than bet on the experienced person, right? So look for potential, look for the characteristics that allow for growth, and experience is just not that. It's not a prerequisite, I think, to being great, and you'll see that over and over and over again. I have a ton of examples of that. Okay, dedication to process versus outcome. You guys understand this concept? Probably talked about it already, right? But if you're dedicated to making the 100 calls a day and you don't worry about the closings, like, you'll have more closings than you know what to do with, but you gotta be dedicated to the process, not the outcome, right? You gotta be dedicated to go to the gym every day, not like having 6-pack abs, right? Like, if that's what you're focused on, like, you're never gonna get there. It's gonna be depressing. So I just want somebody who wants to show up every day and run the process. Like, the outcomes will take care of themselves, but if you too focus on the outcomes, you're gonna get depressed. It's gonna be disappointing. So think about that every day. Are you dedicated to the process or the outcome? Because the process is what's really important. All right, trust people until they give you a reason not to. We talked about that. Leaders eat last. This is a military concept. It's a book by Simon Sinek. I would read this if you want to be a leader. But this is a military concept. In the military, when the chow comes on the battlefield, the privates eat first, then the corporals, then the sergeants, then the lieutenants. The generals eat last, right? Because the people who are in the trenches fighting have to get fed first. And a huge failure amongst real estate leaders is they feed themselves first, right? They take all the money, they do all the stuff, they take care of themselves first and let everybody else starve. So think about this in your split structure or the way you share revenue or whatever you decide to do in your business, is you gotta feed your people first, right? The ones that are working hard need to get fed first. And sometimes it's hard because it's easy to preserve our self comforts, but this is something to be absolutely conscious of. And to build a strong culture and trust amongst leaders, or a leadership culture, you gotta feed your people first. And you read the book about this. It's a whole book about this. Don't let 1% problems stop you from taking actions with 99% benefits. The best example of this, guys, is like online advertising, Facebook or YouTube or whatever. How many negative comments you get about being an asshole that sells Hawaiian lands, right? Every day. But then how many leads do you get that you close 10 deals a year off of, right? Or whatever it is. The first time you get a negative comment about doing something, you stop doing that thing when you get 99% benefit off of that thing, right? So be conscious of this. Like, don't let the negativity stop you, right? Don't let the haters stop you, because if I do a great Facebook ad and it makes me 99 leads and one person says I'm a terrible person for selling Hawaiian land, I block that person, I delete the comment, and I run the ad double the next week, right? So don't worry about that stuff. I've never met a hater who hates up, right? People only hate, a hater that hates down, right? Like, only people below you will hate on you, so you just gotta let that stuff go and keep moving forward. Nobody above you will ever hate on you, so don't let that stuff stop you. Practice unconditional love. This goes back to trust and all this other stuff, but we don't treat our business partners like we treat our friends or our family, right? If our family lets us down, we don't fire them and hate them and never do business with them again. But when your TC missed a deadline, did you fire them and you never work with them again? When they 99% of the time they did a great job? Like, evaluate this in your business and practice sometimes a little bit of unconditional love. Show some grace, right? People will make mistakes, but if somebody performs 99% of the time well and 1% of the time they screw up, you just gotta forgive them for that and move on. Like, we wouldn't have friends and family if we treated our business partners like we do our family, and we have this like black and white, like, if you mess up, I'm never gonna talk to you again attitude. And then speak your intentions out loud. I learned this from Justice Pang, but I'll end with this, guys. This was an event in Maui that was hosted by Brent Gove, and this was in February of 2023. We weren't even close to the leaderboard, like, as a team, right? But they invited me to speak because at the time we were one of the top teams in the state, and the #1 team in EXP was sitting in the audience. And I called them out. I said, "Hey, Kenny, we're coming for you," right? Like, kind of as a joke, but I did it on stage in front of lots of people, lots of high-level people in the company. And this is from this morning, you guys. This is Kenny Fast right here, #3, and we're #5. Like, we weren't even on the leaderboard, anywhere close to the leaderboard in 2023. And the lesson from this is like, you gotta be bold and you gotta be able to say the things that you want to have happen in life. We're so afraid to be boisterous or be tantaran or whatever it is that you think, but like, if you got big goals and you got big dreams, like, you gotta say them out loud, you gotta tell people, you gotta say it in front of a crowd. And that's the only way that stuff is gonna come to fruition. And don't be ashamed to do it. And this is just an example. I kind of did it as a joke, but then now he always gives me shit because he's like, bro, he's like, you're like right on our toes. Like, he was #1 and we were like number 35 or something, like not even close to the leaderboard. And we're almost there. So final thing, this is our final principle, that the way we do business, our guiding principle as a team, is kino ole. The Hawaiian language is like super cool, right? There's poetic translations and there's literal translations, right? And kino ole the literal translation is without flaw, right? Kino ole, without flaw, or flawless. But the poetic definition is I'll do the right thing in the right way at the right time, in the right place, to the right person for the right reasons, and with the right feeling the first time I do it. And I think if we all did this in business, we would all be better off. This is the way we treat each other. This is the way we treat our clients. And just think about this: do you have something like this that is a guiding principle for the way you do things and the way you expect your team to do things? Because if you do, y'all are gonna be moving in the right direction. It's all gonna work out a lot better. So if you want to download the slides, guys, that QR code goes, I don't know if that QR code is even going to show up, but it goes to my dot card. The first link in the dot card is the download to the slides. This is a lead funnel. I'm going to be completely transparent. Is it working, you guys? This is an example of a lead funnel. You're going to go to that link. It's going to ask you for your email address and your phone number. You're going to give it to me. I'm going to give you the slides, and then I'm going to email you every single week. All right?
Sit in the Reddit tradition.
And then follow me on Instagram if you want pretty much daily content about all the stuff I'm talking about today. I try and post at least 5 days a week about something valuable for you guys. But I love to connect. Always reach out. All my contact information is on that QR code, so if I can help you with anything, just reach out. There's links to book a meeting, so if you just want to book a dedicated 30 minutes for coaching, questions, whatever, you got access directly to my calendar, all right? Thank you guys. Is there any questions? Are we done? Are we out of time or what? We got time? We got 20 minutes?
Anybody have anything? If anyone has no questions, that means you did a damn good job.
Like get this guy out of here.
Go, give it up. Yeah. All right. What an amazing sequel to all this series, right? So click around for the rest of the stuff we did. Okay, cool. All right, give it up for Dylan again, you guys. Amazing, amazing. So if you walk away from this, just do one thing. Who wants to tell me one thing they're going to change tomorrow or add to their business in the next 6 weeks? Come on, if nobody says anything, this was completely a pop.
Everybody's going to quit now. Everybody's going to quit.
I know. We're done. Come on. What do you got? Get the mic. Come on. We got to hear you. Go ahead.
I like the concept of building or hiring for where you want to go, not where you're at, because that is so true. I never want to hire an admin right now or think that far ahead. But yeah, I like that concept. So yeah, doing
awesome.
that.
Thank you. Yeah, got to pave the future ahead. Can't be thinking about tomorrow. Somebody else. Come on. I've been throwing it at you, but I don't want to hit the head there. Hold on. Let's go. Let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole and I'm with Ann Karan. And I used to hate when she would be like, oh, let's have a meeting. And I'm like, another freaking meeting. But then I would show up and I was like, at the end of the day, I would appreciate the meetings because there are things that I was missing out. And I was like, okay, this is helping my business to grow. And so I appreciate that and thank you, Ann.
Woo! There we go. Give it up, Ann. All right, so there's a ton of things in this whole entire seminar that were very tactical and systematic. You guys can all go back and apply, right? Like literally, if you can tie your shoes and write your name forward and backwards, you're not backwards, but forward, then you could do these things and implement it. 1%. 1% is all you're going to change. So we got 29 days till the next event that Dylan kind of spilled the beans a little bit. It's this go right here. Justice paying. If you like what we had today, we're not done. This is an entire year, by the way. We're going to keep you guys moving forward, moving forward. I love the example of Steph Curry. These professionals, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, those guys were known to be the best in their business. But what did they do every day? They shot 500 three-pointers every day because they were never going to be good enough. We ask you to come once a month to this stuff. This is not every day asking to throw 500 free throws. This is once a month to add to your business. Do you think it was valuable today, what Dylan brought out today? Yeah? Okay, one person, that's enough. Yeah. Was it valuable? Yeah, we need some coffee up in here or something. All right, good. So Justice Payne, he already kind of gave you a glimpse of her, 30 under 30. She did 75 transactions. I think she's on a pace for over 80 this year by her own, out in Pune. And she, did over $26 million in volume by herself, by the way. And she's very new in the business. Her concept, though, is to be the one, your only choice. Her business is designed around social media. She's really good at it, by the way. You talked about social media. But she's fine-tuned it to a really high level to that her phone just gets calls of people to say, just send me the listing agreement. I want to sign it because I'm going to work with you. There is no conversation of, well, send me the listing agreement because I'm going to work with you. Now, that's a good place to be the only choice in business because she does such a great job marketing herself. She'll be here next month. Scan the QR code. Be in here again and invite some people. This is for everybody. This is broker agnostic, by the way. This is not for us. It's for all of you guys. It's for anybody that wants to sell real estate, that wants to grow and elevate and build your business. Secondly, this thing, we have an entire year. We created a digital, Kara did, by the way, a digital book. This book will go through the entire year for 13 months, since December to December. Scan the QR code. It's a digital book. Dylan's meeting in there. All the stuff will be in there. Every meeting we do will be imposed in this digital book. You have access to go through it constantly, go back and return to it over and over and over again. Download it to your computer, download it to your desktop, download it to your phone. Anytime we add something new to it, you will get a notification saying that we just added something, whether it's a new video, because every video that we do at every event will be uploaded into this as well. All this screenshots, is a playbook, everything will be in there as well. So this is a book you can follow all year long for you to have access to. And it's free, actually for $9.99. Just give me your credit card. Just kidding. I'm just joking. All right, build. Again, this is another one. Build 25. We had the Build 2024 here in Sheraton Waikiki in May of this last year. Almost 400 agents there. 16 speakers from all over the country were at this place for 2 days. This year, we have the same thing. I have about 16 more speakers coming in, just like Dylan, but from other places in the mainland. Actually, people from Canada will be here too. Guys like John Tsai, who's crushing it right now. and bringing his entire system in his book to show you guys what he's doing too from a Canadian level. So here it is, Bill 25. Right now we got the discount rates. So if you want to get that right now, it'll last for another couple of weeks. But I suggest grabbing those two because there we go. Glenn Sanford, our founder, will be here as well. Anyways, so I hope this was great for you guys. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for taking time out and coming to check us out and being a part of the You Matter series because you guys all do matter. So let's go for 2025.